not for a novice, but if you're experienced, it is so satisfying to see this end result. Hey everybody, my name is Kalle Slaap, watchmaker from the Netherlands, and I think about 6-7 months ago we did a video about this model watches because we had two in the workshop and I thought, well, nice to make a video. In the meantime we had one or two, and now again we have two here in the workshop. Really popular, but so much work and so difficult to restore. And I would like to talk you through the steps because the design is just mental. Beautiful watches, slightly different design, and in a moment I will talk to you why the slightest difference has got a huge impact. I had to contact the owner for advice. What do you want? What are the expectations for the restoration? Here in the information on the dial, Kinetic, that means there is a rotor that is charging a battery, and because it's chargeable it is a capacitor, we call it a capacitor. Water resistance 100 meters, that is quite water resistance, but just the one watch can leak in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, the case, 9, 10 different positions where it can leak. What a design! Well, it is worn a lot, it scratches easily, but they are lovely watches and the real fans are so dedicated to the model. Cheers everybody! That capacitor, the rechargeable battery, like I said in the video before this, during design they thought it's rechargeable, you will never ever need a new capacitor. But you do. All of them between 10, 12, maybe 15 years, all capacitors will die. So you need to replace, just to replace the battery. It is a mammoth task. Luckily we've got Elmar, who is our electronic wizard and such a talented watchmaker. If you look at the movement, it is quite, well, not too much going on from the outside. Beautiful Geneva stripes, perlage around the edge, beautiful. The dial is just one dial with 5 crystals, but what is happening underneath is simply insane. Usually with Seiko design, all the springs are part of the watch part, so hardly any loose springs. But if you look here, real hefty, strong, in my world, strong springs, all of them loose, all of them pushing against different parts. It is insane, and this is just one layer removed. If you see there in the top corner there's a small yellow circle. Underneath there is the capacitor, way inside the movement. Usually a capacitor or a battery is just the first thing you see when you open a watch. Well, you replace it and the watch is running again. Here it is layer upon layer upon layer of all these hefty springs just to reach the capacitor. The design is insane. And not in a good way, but then again, if it runs, there is beauty in this chaos, which it really is. And then the restoration itself, I think this qualifies as Grand Seiko. So these are not repaired, definitely not the Dutch Seiko workshop. I believe it is only repaired, restored in Japan by a very small group of watchmakers of Seiko itself. The polishing look at this, of the case, the watch crystals stick out of the case. So in order to do a beautiful job in polishing, the 5 crystals have to be removed. They are, well, I don't think you can order them because none of these parts, not even the capacitor, can be ordered by Seiko. So we've made some tools here in the workshop to gently press out the crystals so we can restore and polish, polishing and finishing. And this is where the difference of these two models, two designs, are important, especially for a collector or an enthusiast. Because for this one I had to contact the owner, I think Arizona, just to ask what he wants, what are the preferences. Because I'll show you here the Seiko text. This is a shot from this actual watch. Here there was Seiko laser engraved, which is incredibly shallow, and as you can see, part of the text was already gone because of the scratches. We do like a watch that is so incredibly scratched because it's loved, it's worn, it's appreciated. But the owner wanted like new. So there was a decision to be made. There was a text here, Seiko. There was a text here, I think it was start stop. Let's see on the side. Yeah, there. Barely noticeable. And again, this is through my microscope. With the naked eye it was hardly visible. But as you can see, the scratches just about wiped out the laser engraving. Here is just text on the bottom, and the bracelet was so scratched. So there was a decision to be made. Do you want it to leave it original? Fair enough. Do you want it looking nice, just like new? But then we lose the imprint there, the laser engraving there and there. And the client, I think, made the right decision. As you can see here, there is just a mark visible there, and I think one slightly there, because those scratches were so deep. If I had to remove that one, I had to remove way too much material. So slightly visible imperfections, but how the watch was, it's such a transformation. The decision was, well, the text was just about gone anyway. So make it as nice as possible, as we did. And here you can see the outside is beautiful high gloss. The inside is brushed, and in a moment I'll show you the materials in which we do the finishing. But and the crystals had to be glued in place, all 5 of them. And the removal of this crystal, it is so small. Again, with the tools we've made ourselves here, it is not easy to remove all those crystals. This one, slightly different model. Here you can see that the inscription is not laser engraved, but it's way deeper, so we can remove the scratches without removing the letters. Completely different way of restoring. And look at this. The brushing, again, there slightly visible some imperfections, but hey, that is the watch, that is the patina. Here, high gloss, satinage, high gloss, and here the inside of the bracelet is beautiful high gloss. And again, this one was so worn, loved by the client. You cannot polish away a scratch. If a surface is got slight scratches, and there is a small scratch or a bump, you cannot polish it out, because these ones will go nice and smoothly, but here you get just about this result if you try to polish out a scratch. And if you move it like this, it is a bit of a we call it here a lachspiegel. In a fairground, the mirror with all the wobbly things, you know what I mean. So we use our artifacts. We're not sponsored in any way, but you can see the glistening specks there. That is aluminium oxide and very hard material. And then instead of polishing it out, we just make it flat again. And this is microns we are removing, thousandth of a millimeter, not even measurable. It is just the slightest surface remove, and then you got a surface like this, but flat in one plane, and then you polish, and then you get the perfect result. And maybe you've seen it in earlier videos. If you call it a black polish, that means all light is reflected by the perfect surface. So just like a mirror, it is white, all the light is reflected, or black, all the light is deflected and none of that will get back in the eye. So black polish. Then again, if there's just a slightest imperfection in the black polish layer, that is the only thing you see, because that is reflecting the light back to the eye. And so if there's any imperfection, you see it immediately. But then again, to remove the slightest scratches, we use the artifacts. After that, I love the flannel wheels. And this is all in the book that is coming up. I'll show all the details in finishing. If I polish, I only use the paste on one side, and the other side I use for rubbing out. Rub in, rub out. So only the paste on one side, and then you get a real deep gloss, professional finishing. And then the brushing, we use wheels like these. This is Augusta, but there are many other manufacturers. And again, I think the agent that is doing the actual work is aluminium oxide, because it's so hard material. And then you can make the beautiful high gloss, beautiful brushing. And here there is not a huge line between brushing and high gloss. And then you can use the Kapton tape material that is resistance to temperature and abrasiveness, the rubbing. So then you get the perfect result. But only if the crystals are removed, otherwise you cannot make the beautiful plane. So hard to restore, but then again, if it's finished, it is so nice. And let me see which one it was. I think there was such a lovely detail, I kept it in. Yeah, here. This watch is worn so often, of course around the wrist, but probably in a desk function. You can see here the dents, the flat sides in those links, because that is where the wrist is resting on a surface. I kept them in because that is such a story of this particular watch. That is what I love. Well, all of you, I hope you enjoyed a bit more information about these Seikos. Beautiful watches, but the design is just, oh well, but doable. But the outside and the inside of the movement, not for a novice, but if you're experienced, it is so satisfying to see this end result. All of you, thank you so much for your attention. If you like the stream, please hit the like button and hope to see you soon. See ya. Bye bye.